Hey guys, this is the next video in the 90-day roadmap to success. And I wanted to go back to that DNA test for just a second and talk about the final thing that DNA test can help you with, and that is customizing your ID nutrition. So I want to explain how exactly that works, and of course you can work with one of your Bedrock Nutrition team members to make sure that your assessment is updated and that changes are made to your monthly ID nutrition according to your DNA test. But what you're going to look at is this page of the summary sheet, where it starts with inflammation and then it has your fat soluble vitamins and your water soluble vitamins. That translates in the summary pages at the end of the little Bedrock summary. You'll see it says fat soluble vitamins and it has a check mark, and then the following pages tell you about vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, and then there's one for water soluble and it talks about B6, B9, and B12. So when you go into your assessment, if you click edit my assessment, it will take you back to the assessment questionnaire. There are different categories at the bottom of that questionnaire, and the DNA section follows along with this exactly. So it will ask you about your inflammation marker. It will ask you about vitamins A, D, and E, and then B6, B9, and B12, and you just answer exactly the way it is in here. It will then change your recommendations if necessary, and it will recommend things like the B complex, folate, additional omega-3s, additional D3 or D3 plus cofactors, and additional vitamin E. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about our summary and what to use and when to use it. So if your vitamin A is slightly reduced or reduced, you're going to obtain vitamin A actually from your food. So the best forms of vitamin A only come from animal sources. There is no vitamin A at all from plant sources. What we talk about as vitamin A is carotenoids, or beta carotene in particular, like when people say you can get vitamin A from carrots. That's actually not true. As a matter of fact, it would take 5 pounds of carrots eaten daily to be able to convert to the amount of vitamin A that the human body needs if you convert it optimally. Now, if you have the mutations and you're slightly reduced or reduced, that means you could never actually convert enough beta carotene into actual vitamin A. Vitamin A is a fat soluble vitamin found in animals. Animal protein, animal fat is going to be where you get vitamin A. Butter, ghee, eggs are good sources. Organ meats are great sources of vitamin A, which is why when we talk about supplementing outside of your ID nutrition, organ supplements, if you don't eat organ meats on a regular basis, I do recommend that everyone use an organ complex, and we have a link to the organ complex that I recommend both in the Carnivore Code class as well as in Bedrock Nation private client group under our affiliates. Vitamin D, on the other hand, is a hormone that you make. Our body takes sunlight and converts it throughout the day into the necessary vitamin D. Now, if you have the VDR mutation, one of them, and you are reduced or slightly reduced, your vitamin D needs in terms of supplemental vitamin D are greater than the average person, because it's harder for you to actually create your own vitamin D. This was a case for me. I always had low vitamin D levels and I never really understood why, because I'm outside all the time. And I live in Florida where it's sunny and I get lots of time outside and I spend lots of time in the sun. But I don't make vitamin D anywhere close to normally. And so I take the vitamin D3 plus cofactors because that aids in absorption and the usability of the vitamin D. And I take a pretty high amount. And in our summary sheets, when you get to the vitamin D, Not only does it explain what vitamin D is, but it tells you based on your results exactly how much vitamin D per time of year to add to your ID Nutrition. And then vitamin E also is the last of the fat-soluble vitamins. And again, there is a summary sheet that explains where vitamin E comes from. You can add extra vitamin E to your ID Nutrition by clicking on the a la carte menu if it doesn't come up in your recommendations. And you can add any of the items in that a la carte menu if you want to, but particularly if you're looking for something specific. Vitamin E also helps people who have insulin resistance issues, diabetes, etc., or who are particularly sensitive to carbohydrates, and it also helps improve omega-3 uptake. So vitamin E is very important as well. And there are lots of reasons why vitamin E might be recommended in additional vitamin E. It might be recommended in your ID Nutrition, but definitely if it falls into your DNA category. Okay. Then we move to the water-soluble vitamins, and the water-soluble vitamins that we're looking at are B6, B9, and B12. Now, this is going to affect methylation. This is going to affect your body's natural detox mechanisms, and we've talked a lot about B9 and B12 and the MTHFR mutation in other videos, so I'm not going to go into that, but I am going to explain to you how our summary sheet tells you how to go in and add what you need. If you have slightly reduced or reduced levels of any of those three, you are going to add the B complex to your morning nutrition packets. The B complex contains B1, B2, B3, B5, B6, B9, and B12. And this is really important because they work synergistically. On the folate alone, you may get a recommendation for the B complex and additional folate in your evening. So the B complex would go in your morning, and then a folate by itself would go into your evening packets. I always recommend that you start with the B complex because B9 does rely on B1, B2, B3, and B12. So having that B complex is going to make your B9 more usable, and they work synergistically together. Then, if you feel like that's not enough after 2 or 3 months, and you notice that you're still sluggish, or you're still having problems, or your energy levels are low, then we might talk about adding the B9 by itself in the evening, okay? And remember that the two bioavailable forms of B9, which are both contained in your B complex as well as the folate in your ID Nutrition, are 5L-methylfolate and folinic acid. This is not the same as folic acid. Folic acid is not folate. The body doesn't react to it like it's folate. And for those of you who have the MTHFR mutation or other mutations on the methylation cycle, folic acid is actually quite dangerous for you. So avoid anything that says folic acid. This is synthetic. Same with cobalamin. You want to use the methylcobalamin form, not the cyanocobalamin form, which is the synthetic form of B12. If you guys have additional questions beyond that, please do reach out to your Bedrock Nutrition team member and have them help you update your assessment. I look forward to talking to you later. I hope that everybody is doing wonderfully in their 90 days and that you are connecting with your mentor. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to post your questions and your comments in the group.